I think I'm good.
Morning, Mishabi. I'm so happy to be talking to Mishabe Mahoney, who's in Seattle at the moment in the States. And Mishabi, we're going to be talking about Myalo's new oil portal, which I am super excited because we've just been talking about all the fun things that it's got now. But will you please, first of all, just tell us who you are and how we met?
Well, my name's Mishabae Mahoney. As Shelley has said, I'm a nutritional therapist. I have a private practice here on Bainbridge Island. I do nutritional therapy. I also instruct in the field of nutrition. And I have a lovely, fully integrated healing arts practice, massage, yoga therapy, meditation, all these things together. So being able to be a part of this adventure with Portal Oil is just exactly part of everything that I love and am passionate about.
And Mishabi, how did you become a part of Myalo and first learn about the company and what made you want to be a part with them?
Okay. Well, my association with the company is really the story of knowing John. We know that John Jennis is the owner of this company and the formulator of all of the oils, and that he was originally my teacher when I was a student of nutritional therapy. And then he invited me to become an assistant, and I had the honor and the pleasure of working with him in that way and continue to learn from him. And Shelley, as you know, he really is a master at clinical skills, the muscle testing, the palpations, functional assessment. And if I remember properly, I first met you in a workshop that John was teaching.
You 100% Mishabi. We were very lucky to learn from him.
Yeah. Yeah. So just over time, and getting a chance to continue to learn from John, the opportunity to be supportive of this process and the oils came up, I was thrilled and I really, really wanted to be part of it. So we began to work together a bit on the portal oil and some of the others as well. So first he was my teacher, assistant, continuing to learn. I wanted to continue to learn from him. We just have a good connection, compatible sensibilities about the healing arts. And these are all things that I want to stay involved with. So joining this company, Myalo, was a wonderful opportunity to do that.
And Mishabi, we've both been introduced, I'm just going to get it in front of me, to Myalo through Vagal 2.0. That was the first product that me and you both knew about, especially when we were learning in class. And for me, it was transformational using Vagal 2.0 in clinic with clients because for the first time, I could help them get parasympathetic, which then meant we could reset their whole digestive system, their adrenals, their nervous system, detoxification, and all these amazing things. And I know that Myalo started with this brand for that, I mean, with this product for that very reason. So if this was their very first, I guess, iconic product, they've obviously now, and we're lucky enough in New Zealand to have some of these because I know that they're not even on the website yet. So we're super lucky talking to you, Mishabe. So if with your experience with Vagal 2.0, what made you then want to get involved, particularly with Portal? And what kind of is Portal? Why is it different to Vagal 2.0 in terms of what we feel in our bodies?
Oh, well, let me take another backward step to
Okay, good.
why this oil was even developed. It's quite a life story. It was a big event. So over time, and in working with John, there came a moment where he was diagnosed with a terminal cancer. And that's a very hard piece of news to receive. It's a very hard diagnosis to live in and to keep your spirits up and not be just completely in a stress state nonstop. And it was during that time that John introduced me and a few of us to this wonderful meditation practice called Kirtan Kriya. And he was working with it diligently, daily, probably a few times a day to access this calmer, clearer, better state of mind, using the meditation practice to get to that clarity and live in that kind of mind to respond to what was happening rather than living in constant stress or
Mm.
fear or worry. So, as he taught us that practice, we began to use it every time we got together, even just for conversation or to do anything. So, it became a part of our lives. I took it home with me. I use it every day. I probably did that mantra and that kirtan kriya. I probably did it every day for over a year, and it's still one of my go-tos. But the portal oil was created to go with the Kirtan Kriya. So first there was the Kirtan Kriya and all of its beautiful effects: spaciousness, clarity, balance, equanimity, hope, just a better state, less stress. And then it was John's idea to create an oil to go with that particular practice. So after a time of being very interested in the Kirtan Kriya, we also became interested in studying more about Kundalini Yoga and meditations. They have a lot of wonderful and powerful meditations. And we took a year-long Kundalini Yoga teacher training, and we both became instructors. But the use of the Kirtan Kriya brought up his desire to create this oil so that everybody could more easily access a meditative mind and its gifts, not just in going into the meditation, but also bringing those qualities to you in your real-time life as needed. So as we began to work in that way, I just became incredibly excited about helping to promote this particular oil and the practice that goes with it. It's not just an oil for meditation, it has its own standalone practice. And I really cannot emphasize enough how important this kind of mental work is for all of us. And portal oil facilitates that.
So when you say a practice that goes along with the oil, what is the practice? Like, what if you don't want to do Kundalini yoga, or you don't want to have a yoga practice, or your meditation practice, you're just starting out and it's kind of a minute a day doing a body scan or something like that? How does this translate, or what is the incentive to use this oil with a practice? What will that then bring to our daily lives?
Okay. Now, you definitely don't have to do the Kirtan Kriya. You don't have to do a specific meditation. You don't even have to meditate. But the energetic quality of the oil brings you to that quality of mind very readily. And what I would tell you is that if you chose to consistently apply portal oil, we apply it, we put it on the heart point, the
So
brow point,
brow.
and the crown of the head. So if you were to apply portal oil before engaging in an activity that you do consistently that's bringing you to your desired mental state, maybe it's more relaxation, maybe it's more clarity of mind, maybe you'd like to have more creativity. So whatever your practice is, if you apply portal oil with it consistently, you will also be able to use portal oil to draw that quality of mind, your preferred mental state, to you when you need it most. Like I applied it before our talk here today. I wanted to be in a balanced state, an open state, a creative and inspired state of mind.
So,
So I was able to bring my meditative mind to us.
and that's the about a lot on the web, on the Myalo website, of the neuroplasticity. So you can, what I feel like you're saying, Mishabae, and correct me if I've not understood correctly, you can use it with your practices, whatever daily practice you're doing, and then through neuroplasticity, when you apply it to your heart, you apply it to your third eye and your crown before a big meeting, or before something that might cause a stress response, or where you do want to be creative, or you want to show a lot of love towards your family. That will bring those feelings, or that sense of awareness in your body, or that really calm, relaxed state into a potentially stressful experience.
Yes, yes. So it starts with using the oil consistently with whatever your technique is. So for us with meditation, for instance, the beginning of being able to call that state back to you in real time begins with your dedicated work with the portal oil. So you would sit down to do your meditation, or maybe your breathing practice, or your mindfulness practice, whatever it might be. You would apply the oil and then close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and begin to do your practice. So what's happening is the portal oil is like anchoring, cementing, joining that neuroplastic pathway very powerfully. So your practice is developing a neuroplastic pathway. Practicing with portal oil enhances and deepens and joins with that neuroplastic pathway to make it stronger and more functional. So as you're working with the oil, with whatever your technique, these two things become very much one thing. And the oil, when you apply it, fires up the same energetic cues to ignite that neural pathway into the qualities of the preferred brain state you're looking at, or for us, that meditative mind. So one When you're using it in meditation, you'll notice you get there easily. Your sit is beautiful. There's just a sense of depth and spaciousness and more lucidity, beautiful self-awareness and perspective. And then when you choose to use it during your day, you would pause, apply the oil, and take a few deep breaths, and perhaps notice any subtle effects that you might be feeling. Does your breathing rate change? Do you feel more relaxed? Does your heart rate change?
That's
Do you
what
notice shifts in your vision?
Mm.
And
And
then you would also,
Shabby, can you just stop on that point with the vision? Because I think that's a really key point, and a lot of people don't realize, and I explain this a lot in clinic. What happens with your vision when you're in a sympathetic stress state and when you're in a parasympathetic state?
uh, well, when we're in that stress state, it's a very narrow focus. It's a mind that's trapped in survival. It's a mind that's spinning usually around one response, and it's a learned behavior, and we can't pop out of it. So it's a narrow lens, it's a narrow focus, it's usually on one thing, and we can be caught in our reaction. So when we can call in that meditative mind, when we can apply the oil, recall what our meditation felt like, if it had an associated, mudra sequence, if it had a mantra, we could say it quietly, we could take a breath, and then note some of these changes as that awareness comes back to us. And the vision thing, it's like if we are in that very narrow focus, it's almost like you have blinders over your peripheral vision, you know? And so when you apply the oil and take a moment and step away from that habituated response, you might note that you just kind of feel like this. We call that spaciousness. You might feel like your perspective and vision widens and broadens and heightens. There is a sense of better self perspective and self awareness. And it's that which allows us to make better choices. We become a witness to the moment we're in. We become a witness to our own reactions and kind of pause and go, oh, this is not the brain I want to be in. This is not the way I'd like to be acting. So I'm going to pick up my oil. This is a determined choice. I will apply it, another choice, and I will choose to exercise this new muscle. I'm going to choose to exercise the muscle to open up and fire those energetic cues. I will use the oil as a stick shift to a different state of mind. I will change the channel. And it takes some energy and it takes practice, but we can do this. So what this oil is doing is it's teaching us how to virtually, literally change our mind. We're changing the wiring of our mind. And when we can move at will to a more meditative state, we are changing the way we respond to life, the way we perceive life. And when we change those responses and perceptions, life tends to go better.
Absolutely. What you say, Michelle, sometimes it's just buying time to make a new decision. So applying this can make you pause and go, actually, which way do I want to go? Do I want to stay in this stress state where I've got my narrow vision and I'm irritated or stressed or whatever it is? Or do I want to actually go back, pause, and that pausing can be literally just for a couple of seconds, and then go down a new pathway and bring my meditative state, like, because that's what I love is it's like when we put in that, like I always say to clients, we want to stack health benefits. So if we're going to put in the benefits and time of doing our meditation, which is beautiful, and all these other mindfulness and practices that we do, imagine if we can take that hard work through neuroplasticity and transform it in a few seconds throughout our day so we get into that meditative state. Like I know a lot of my clients being corporate, like in the corporate world, when you're going into big meetings, imagine if you've got that big vision where you can see how much more creative you're going to be, how much more softer or tender you're going to be towards your staff.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautifully said, Shelley. That's exactly it. So we put in the real work with a consistent practice, whether it's meditation, mindfulness, whatever it might be. And then we have the oil with us and we get to choose the kind of brain state we would like to be in for that meeting, for that deep conversation with a loved one, for our children. Just so many interesting and simple uses. I mean, I do a lot of work online. I think you do as well. And that can create a very tired, fatigued brain.
Yes.
And you know it because you just start tuning out. You're like reading words and nothing's even sticking. It's like, oh, this is a time to push away from the computer. And I'm going to take my portal oil and I'm going to apply it. I'm going to do the hand sequence that goes with the meditation I've been using most frequently with the oil. And I am going to refresh and reset my brain so that I am now coming back to my work feeling interested and engaged with it, and actually just dropping into the work I'm doing without resisting it or stressing about it or feeling weary. So just on that level, to reset and refresh the brain, it's like a mini rest without having to say, okay, time out, I'm sitting in my corner on my pillow and I'm going to meditate for the next 15 minutes. Because we put in the dedicated work, we can now call that in like that, in a breath, in a moment.
That's what I love about it. It's calling it in, neuroplasticity, transforming us to that state throughout the day as fast as possible. So, like you say, having those micro breaks throughout the day, but getting into that deep sense of meditation and that real sense of dropping into the parasympathetic, but on a very deep level. Mishabe, my understanding of the name portal, because I think that's really interesting why it's been called portal. I kind of think of portal as kind of like a gateway, or it kind of reminds me of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where they go through the wardrobe into this magical wonderland. Like that's what it always brings up for me. And whatever your wonderland is, and or what you want your wonderland to be, you get that choice. But what is the thought behind the name, or where does portal come from?
Oh, I love what you just said. That was beautiful, and it evoked so many images for me. Um, in some ways, a portal is an opening. It could be a literal portal. It could be a door, a gateway. It could be a crack, but it's an opening that allows us to enter another state, or another place even. So with us, the portal oil is the entryway from your external world and all that business to your inner world and all of its vastness, and that inner world being that meditative state. The other thing that's interesting is that we have three states of usual consciousness, being waking, sleeping, and dreaming, and those are the ones we live in most of the time. Meditation is your fourth state of consciousness. The actual Sanskrit word is turiya. So it's your fourth state of consciousness, and it's kind of a little bit of all of those things all together, and it's its own unique level of consciousness. So portal becomes the gateway or the entry to that fourth state of consciousness, or just say your beautiful inner world, however you want it to be. As you said earlier, I loved that.
And it could be your fairy land, but you get to bring fear. Like a lot of I always talk about this with clients. Why can't you live a holiday life every single day? You know, a lot of us go on holiday and we're like, we love it. We do whatever we do. So it's bringing a bit of that magical to your everyday life where you like, don't we want to live in a holiday life every single day? I know it's not necessarily reality. We've got bills, we've got jobs, we've got traffic, we've got the rest of it. But this is a way to help do that.
Yeah, no, it's really a tool not only for meditation, but for behavioral change, for change of perspective. We're changing our mind. So when we pick that up and make the effort, we do get to choose what kind of a perspective on life. Is it a holiday perspective? Is it just a happier, less stressful perspective? It is a creative perspective. Is it a more interesting perspective? So by practicing and then using portal oil, we are able to call that directly in. So yeah.
And Mishabi, why have you selected that we apply it to our heart, we apply it to our third eye, and we apply it to the crown of our heads? Is there any reason for that, or what goes with that practice?
Yes, it's very much tied to the energetic qualities of the oil itself, and also as we touch those points, you've mentioned that you are well aware of the chakra system. Yes. Okay. So applying near the heart, we might be awakening some of the qualities of the heart chakra. Some of us navigate our lives more readily through the heart as a mind and a brain and a place where we're coming from and sending and receiving energy. So we're kind of awakening that beautiful heart center energy, the point between the brows. That's also awakening vision, imagination, another level of creativity, visionary qualities, extra insight into things. And then the crown, of course, that's our connection to everything, the universe, things that are bigger than us, that makes us part of something much bigger than us and gives us access to all of that as well.
Also, Mishabi, what on my personal health journey, and through working with all my clients is I know that through stress and just wanting to achieve in my corporate world and wanting to get ahead and climb the promotion, climb the corporate ladder, I did close down my heart a little bit because, like, as far as I was concerned, emotions got in my way of success. So I didn't have time, in inverted commas, that caught up with me to sometimes feel emotions. And it's also for me a practice of self-love, like really loving myself. Like, what was my drive? Like, why was I pushing myself so hard? So even just touching your heart on an individual level is going to help us, probably, I assume, open up, feel ourselves, love ourselves more deeply so we can love others more.
Oh, that's beautiful. And particularly if that's your lens on that, as you apply the oil, you are awakening those kinds of feelings and qualities and perspective on your life. So, what I love is that between the gentle touch, the beautiful smell, taking a breath, it's all creating a very powerful moment that elicits change. It makes change possible, whereas before the change probably wasn't possible. We were locked down. So,
Absolutely. And Mishabi, when I smell it, which, like, this is, I just think it should be perfume in the first place. Like, I know that's not possible. But to me, like, it just smells so beautiful. Some of the, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not really good at always getting my essential oils correct. Some of the things that I smell is like rose and that vanilla. Like, I love vanilla. Those types of smells. What do they represent anything in terms of opening up your heart or opening up these things? Is there an energetic quality with these choices?
mm, yeah, well, it's interesting. John arrived at this synergy of oils, and the rose and the vanilla have a beautiful relationship with one another. Um, so, rose, if you're interested in frequencies, which I'm very interested in,
Me too. And
essential
we
oil of rose.
in clinic, we have a whole therapy with frequency therapy, so we love it here.
Oh, good, beautiful. Well, I think we know then that all essential oils also have frequencies. They have aroma, which is it has an energetic effect and all kinds of other effects on us just via the powerful um, use of scent. And then the energetic quality of the rose. Rose is one of the highest frequencies for all essential oils. It is one of the top ones at 320 hertz. So just that alone, it is giving us some energetic qualities that are very high vibration, very loving, very spiritual, very spacious. So just that by itself is a beautiful quality. So as we are applying the oil, we are also absorbing some of those qualities from the rose essential oil, its frequencies, its essence. So it's a very high spiritual attunement with the rose. Then vanilla pairs very beautifully with the energies of the rose. It's also super relaxing, calming. It's something it brings up feelings of joy and happiness, at least it does for me. And it also helps with slower brain waves, which can help with brain function. So it calms things down. It's also anti-stress. Then there's a whole little family of oils that are also within this formulation. And all of those come alongside in support of the synergy, particularly of the rose and the vanilla.
Wow, that's so
All
cool.
together, it's like the sum total of so many different parts becomes the potency.
Mishabi, I love that. And the other thing that I really want to touch on, because I just think this is what sets Myalo apart, and I don't think we necessarily understand it, is, and like, this is just the genius of John and you guys collaborating together and what you've done to formulate this, is there's also another component to this, right? So there's not just essential oils. Mishabi, it's your baby. So you tell us, what is that extra component to it?
It's not necessarily my baby. John, John has an amazing expertise in minerals, rocks, not just crystals that you would think of like amethyst or jade or rose quartz. So, but just minerals, rocks in general. And it's actually his mastery of understanding them that brought specific minerals to these formulas, again, to support the overall energetic effect, um, the potency of it, the fact that the minerals even more further enhance the synergy of the oils. So together, these things are supporting, synergizing with one another, and it creates something that's very powerful. So minus the minerals, the oil is beautiful on its own, but when John chose to bring in the mineral kingdom, the mineral qualities, the effect through our methods of testing on clients and friends and ourselves was far greater, just much more powerful.
Well, I actually remember pre-COVID days when we could travel, and I remember being in Seattle, going to the mineral shop with him when he was starting to, I guess, formulate this oil and come up with it, and his selection process and just his understanding of minerals just blew me away because that was the first time that I'd actually been exposed to, like, I knew about crystals and that, but the healing benefits of minerals in a formulation like this and why it would take it to the next level. Mishabi, you don't necessarily need to say the individual minerals because I'm not sure if you're allowed to, but can you just tell us about what kind of frequency they're at or what that does as well?
Sure, sure. So some of the minerals in there, all of the ingredients are on the shop site. We're just very like, this is what's in here. So one of the minerals is flint, and another one is black diamond sand. And then we have a quartz crystal chip that's been imbued with the 528 frequency. And I am such a big fan of that frequency. Some people call it the frequency of universal love or just universal chi, so to speak. But it also has been associated with states of healing and DNA repair. I mean, who couldn't benefit from any of those things? Whoever we are, who could not benefit from that kind of support? And we found that when this was also added to these formulations, again, their efficacy just increased like exponentially. And this is something that does set us apart. So it's a very important part of the whole package. And so I think you can hear from just the blend of the oils themselves with all of their qualities as aromatherapy and then as energetic qualities and frequencies as qualities. And then the addition of minerals and the 528 frequency, it's stunning. I mean, these are very high vibrational, I would almost say beings, these oils. They just have a very unique quality. They have their own unique character, and they really do have the ability to help us make those shifts and do personal growth. I mean, it really is a form of brain training and behavioral change. Every time we notice where we are at and we want to shift, we're training ourselves to both notice where we are and then make those changes. It's beautiful and
Mishabi,
it smells.
so beautiful and it's so just another tool in the toolbox for us to live a different life if we choose and to live in a different state and experience all those benefits.
Yes, and I would just say though, it takes energy, it takes practice. You know, first it takes the consistent practice using portal oil as part of your meditation or whatever your mindfulness technique is, and then it takes practice calling it into your real time, like saying, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this 2 or 3 times today. I know my typical reactions in certain situations or where I could really use the qualities of that meditative mind, like the spaciousness, creativity, inspiration, calmness, perspective, all of these things. So I am going to make a choice to use this and see what it does for me. And every time we use the oil, it becomes stronger because those neural pathways to our preferred mental state or the meditative mind get stronger. So every time we use the oil, it gets stronger. Our ability to feel that shift, sense that shift, actually perceive it, and have the reality of our perspective changing. It gets stronger and quicker because the portal oil has now become very much part of that neural pathway overuse. So the more you do this, the more you call on that meditative mind with portal oil as its standalone real-time practice, the more easily we can bring those qualities back to us when we need them. And that's something that's really special. It is unique.
I totally agree. And I still do live my life sometimes at busier speed. So it is nice to have these neuroplasticity and these techniques that I can use and tools to bring myself so I am present, I am calm, I am mindful for myself, for my clients, and for my family. And just my sense of just being, and like as I was walking to yoga this morning, walking down through the city and seeing the sky after I'd done this at home, and you just take in different, all your senses are more alive, you're much more in your body and engaged with the world, which to me, after all my years of busyness in my banking world and life just went by like a whirlwind, it is so nice to just be present and I'm not like that all the time, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect by any means, but even when I feel myself not, having tools to help me get back on track in a much more timely way is really the amazing gold of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Mishabi, I am so grateful for your time today. Thank you so much for telling. And there's so much in there. Like you just gave us so many things where I feel like, oh my gosh, I need to go do some more research and this and this and this. But I won't. I'll just stay present with my oil. But thank you so much for just explaining this and explaining the wonder and the magic, I would say, the magical nature of this oil and how we can use it in our daily lives to live a more experiential life.
Great. No, it's been my pleasure to be here and get to talk to you about this because it is so exciting and so valuable. So we will have more training up on the site eventually about how to actually do first your meditation with Portal and then what that looks like as a real-time practice. So people get a really good idea, very clear idea of how to use it as a basic practice with the meditation and then how to do that real-time meditation, calling it in as we've been talking about this whole time. So
Thank
we
you.
will give you support.
Thank you so much, Chad. I am so grateful. And you go and enjoy your Friday afternoon.
That's right. That's right.
It takes me a
And
second.
where you are, it's winter and we're in the middle of summer. Is
I know.
that true?
I've got my big jersey on as I see your bright sunshine, although we've got blue skies today, Mishabi, so I'm happy.
Oh, nice.